Morning, everybody. It's getting close now. I have finally reached Sparks, Nevada, where I'm offloading this, and I'll be going from here to the meeting point down there just south of Barstow. So hope to see a lot of you there. It's exciting and scary all at the same time. There's a lot of things going on. I kind of want to get into all that today. I've been watching all these updates, listening basically to all these updates, every podcast, every show I can get my hands on that I can listen to follow basically all the points, because I want to see, if you're going to take a test, you study, right? You're going to study for a test because you want to make sure that when it shows up, you've got the knowledge down. And that's kind of how I've been looking at this. I've been following every single thing I can get my hands on because I want to know, that we're kind of using them as a platform to see what happens with them in order to kind of prepare for what may happen with us. Is it going to be violent? Is it going to be peaceful? We don't really know, but you kind of want to make preparations for whatever may come along. And that was kind of my viewpoint of really, really paying close attention to what's going on with the Canada movement. Now, if you notice me playing around over here, it's because I had to make sure I didn't miss any of my talking points, so I put them up here. So it's not that I have ADD and I'm like, oh, squirrel. No, I'm actually trying to just jot through my notes. So one of the things that absolutely blew my mind is the fact that with violence came peace. So burn down, rob, loot, whatever, no problem. It's cool. We got you. We understand. But then with peace came violence. So there's that we're kind of looking at. Canada's not the U.S. What has happened there is probably not what'll happen here, especially from what I've gathered, and we'll get into that. It appears as though things have kind of been planned for on both sides so that this doesn't become the Canadian mess that it has turned into, which it never should have gotten to that point. Now, Joe Biden told Trudeau to get off his ass. It reminds me of the kid that kind of waits for the bully to walk, a good half a mile away, and then he's like, yeah, you better keep walking. I'd have beat that ass if yo, you lucky you wasn't in front of me, man. I'd have tore your ass up. That's what it reminds me of, maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's the great weapon while appearing to be unconscious. So today I'm just going to cover some thoughts. Subsequently, truckers that participate in this, I want to gather all their thoughts as well, as the days come, and make sure that I bring this. Listen every day to the feed, the news cycles. Make sure that you understand what's going on. But when you're done, make sure you end up here, because this is where you're going to get what's actually happening. But I almost want you to watch the other news feeds, because if you don't get both sides, you can't really make a concise decision, and you can't see there. How do you know what truth is? Let me tell you how you know what truth is. Truth is when you know audible and visual, and they sync up. All right? If you see it and you hear it, okay, this is what's happening. If I tell you the sky is green, all you got to do is look up. You'll see that it's blue. That's the reflection of the ocean. We all know that. But this is kind of the spectrum that the media has taken. They're like, no, it's green. Your eyes are obviously off. You should get those checked. It's green. That's what's happening here, folks. So I want you to see that. I want you to come here and see what's actually happening. And then I want you to go to these news medias and see what they're telling you and compare the two. They've been doing this in Canada. A lot of these guys that are doing these live feeds that are really on their game have been able to copy what they're saying on the media and then show the actual live event occurring, which is awesome. We have cameras everywhere now. It's not so easy to just tell people the damn sky is green. Everyone's out here filming it. All right? So please get both sides of the spectrum, because you're going to be able to see what's truth and what's bullshit. You know, that wasn't even part of my notes. I kind of just went on a tandem there. Sorry about that. So, you know, one of the things that also has come to mind is that I honestly feel like the Canadians have a more peaceful attitude or outlook than we do. For instance, you know, this is how I kind of see this whole thing starting down. So some guy goes, "Hey, where are you going?" "I'm going to go protest." So, "Well, here, hold my beer." "What are you doing?" "I got to go get the hot tub." Well, then the wife pipes in and goes, "Well, if you're getting that goddamn hot tub, I'm getting the bouncy house, because I ain't messing with these kids all day. All right? That's kind of how I see this going down. It was never I'm getting my gun or nunchucks or gas and matches. It was more like a southern pig roast. You know, there was a duality of, we're going to go protest our freedom, but we're going to play hockey, eat like kings, and jam out until that shit happens, you know? It was so just a calm thing. You know, when we say the word protest here, I don't know about you, but I feel a little more maybe emotion involved, whereas they came at it like a big block party. And I've got a little more, I guess, I don't want to say anger, but angst, or gosh, I don't know how to put it without, I don't want to say anger, because it's not that I'm mad, but I'm, I guess, a little more towards that than just a peaceful thing, because after having seen what they've done to them, I'm irritated for them. Now I'm getting ready to start our own. So yeah, you know, I'm kind of carrying that with me and trying not to let it dictate what I do and what I say and how I cover this, because I don't want that to be the case. I don't want you coming here going, "Well, let's watch him get all pissed off and talk shit." You know, that's not how I want to come across. I want to make sure that you understand that, but it's nearly impossible to not have, you know, some of that built up and going into this. So, you know, the Canadians brought their kids, for Christ's sakes. You know, there could not have been an angry bone in their body when they did this. Now, would I bring my kids to this one? Absolutely not. Especially now that I've seen what they've done to their own people. You know, you've got Justin Jong-un, who has basically changed the entire country overnight. You know, and I kind of wanted to set this tone because the questions will make a little more sense. For instance, do you think it's possible that they would take some of these measures here? You know, we're getting ready to go visit the government in their own backyard. Something I want to explain to you. If you're not a truck driver and you're watching this, there's something that you may or may not know. When you go to DC, there is what's called a beltway that surrounds DC. I do love BC powders though. Hell, amen. There's a beltway that surrounds DC, all right? And as a truck driver, you are only allowed to follow this circle. If you go within that circle, they will come down on you like a ton of bricks. Man, you will get fined, you'll get possibly towed. It's not even funny. You don't go into DC. And we're getting ready to bring a whole bunch of us and go right through. That alone breaks every freaking rule that we're aware of. You know, I mean, so that in itself is just enough to kind of make you nervous. You know, could they set up the National Guard around the beltway to make sure we don't cross? Sure. But then I'm assuming that they would think, you know, if we do that, we're basically shutting down every single state that surrounds this beltway. Maryland, Virginia, you know, it's not going to be a wise idea. It's better to go ahead and let us in, let us do what we've come to do, and then leave. We have no desire to start problems with anyone. Every single post on every single site, I dare you to show me anything that says, let's go in there and take it over and, you know, show them who's boss. That is not what we're into. That's nothing. No, that's nowhere. Okay. We are peaceful, but we're cautious. Okay. So after having seen what's happened in Canada, we're all kind of on pins and needles wondering what could happen to us, you know, and I'm sure, and I wouldn't blame anyone. I'm sure that there's probably a handful of people that were originally planning on doing this, and then after having seen everything thought, I can't risk that, you know, my kids, my wife, my family, you know, I can't do it. And yo, I have nothing but respect for you. I understand, you know, I'm in a different position. I'm not married. All of my kids are on their own, or the last ones are staying with my ex, who does an amazing job. So I don't really have to worry about that. The only thing I have in my life is myself and the greatest dog in history. So I'm in a much different position than a lot of you are in. So if you don't show up, I understand. Doesn't mean you can't support us from afar. But for those that are showing up, they're in a much more cautious place right now. And I think that's just. So let's boil down to some of these questions, because I have quite a few. First of all, what exactly are the requests? Who all is speaking on our behalf? Are there other things beside mandates that others within the convoy would like to be heard? What about the wide spectrum of professions that are in this mandate? Because as truckers, it was supposed to come that if you had 100 or more employees, you must be vaccinated or they can't drive. Now, where that stands currently, I'm not really sure, because that was originally supposed to be implemented January the 22nd. And so, you know, we're almost in March now. So I'm not really sure. Again, I have a lot of questions, and I'm just kind of bringing this to you so that you'll understand where I'm going to be coming from tomorrow when I actually get a chance to meet these folks and kind of get their take on all this. If the talks produce no results, do we get trampled by the DC Police, Secret Service, National Guard? They've already put a fence up around the Capitol building again. You know, is that to keep us out, or to keep those within protected if they decide they want to plow us out of the way? It's easier to wipe us off of a gridded fence than if we were to run into the Capitol for safety because we're being attacked. This is real questions I have. I know it might sound silly, but look at what's happened in Canada. It's a real possibility, you know, and we've seen some really nasty things. There's a video floating around right now that shows a guy on the ground and a cop kneeing him in the head 4 times while he's on the ground, and there are 2 other cops on top of him pinning him to the ground. So although it might sound a little overboard, it's really not, you know. We've seen it. So I don't know. These are just some of the questions that I want to address to the coordinators. You know, I want to get their take on how do they see some of these things going down, and what plans have been, you know, thought of in order to kind of combat what may or may not go down. So at any rate, I'm expected to be there by around noon tomorrow, and I want to start filming obviously as quickly as possible. I want to kind of get some shots of who's already there and who's showing up as we're waiting. The convoy is supposed to leave at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. So it should give me plenty of time to kind of get around, meet people, and I'm honestly really excited about that. This is hands down easily the biggest thing I have ever participated in my life, and I'm beyond excited, you know, the fact that I'm going to get a chance to do this. So at any rate, the the last thing I want to talk about is questions. The plan is to post every morning with what the plan is for the day, then do a live feed throughout the day when there's good shit to see. And then in the evening, I kind of want to do a post video just discussing the day for those who can't really watch a whole live feed, and just give a quick breakdown of what's happened and, you know, what it's looking like for the following day. So that's the plan I'm going with, and starting tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and start following that. I think I've got everything I need to get set up as far as getting live streaming and all the equipment. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments, because I am going to be shooting every day, and I want to be able to get any questions that you have answered. And if I don't know the answer, I will find somebody who does, and I'll get you that answer as fast as I can. So please help me get this out, share it, let anyone you know that this is going down and that I'm covering it. And until I see you on the, I guess, tomorrow's video, thanks for watching, and hopefully I get to take some time to have some fun. We'll see what happens. Until then, I'm John with Translines Inc. This is OTR Survival, Convoy Edition. Bye-bye.